But if we go back to when you were younger, 18 to 20 years old, would you expect that you would be here today?
Sometimes the dreams and the reality back then is not clear. Mau jadi apa? I want to beat this one specific top lawyers lah. Back then already top lawyer. I want to beat him in a professional. That's what I want. Karena kos, waktu itu anak kos. Work-life balance, I don't have it.
Why law, Pak?
Kadang-kadang satu orang dengan menghadirkan sudut pandang yang berbeda. If you know someone is guilty, will you still defend him? That's my job to present that to the court.
Pak, I want to talk about building the firm gitu. Mulainya seperti apa gitu, Pak?
If God tell me to open the firm and if He allows me to open the firm, I believe no one will be able to close it. If you want to become anything, pursue it and become one of the best in it. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Hang on to something. Choose to whom do you want to hang on. For me, it's God.
Pak Andi, welcome to Defy the Odds.
Thank you.
I am very grateful. I'm very grateful to have you here, and I'm grateful for your time. But before the reputation, before the person you are today, the law firm, what behind the scenes do we don't see?
I don't know where to start, basically. I think things that might not be very general for me and other young kids back then is back when I was in middle school.
Okay.
Waktu I was in middle school, I'm in the church serving in the music team.
Okay.
And the thing back then was I was in Medan.
Okay.
And back then the senior drummers were out of the church, so I have to play not only for the youth service but also for the adult service.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of times at church since middle school while my friends are still play date hanging out with other friends.
Yeah.
I spent like 3 days in a week, maybe in church.
Yeah.
The whole Sunday for sure, and then there is a practice for music, and then there is a midweek prayer, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So even some of my more senior kakak rohani like, hey, you're very young and you don't have time to play, but it is what it is. I said I'm happy.
Yeah.
Because I have to serve in 4 service in a week. But I'm fine. And it runs from middle school until high school, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for me a bit different with other people.
Okay. Terus Pak, kalau kita ngomongin journey-nya sampai AFS Law Firm dan Pak Andi yang sekarang, your reputation, who you are today, kan kita nggak tahu Pak latar belakangnya gitu. Perjalanan yang Pak Andi tuh dulu sampai sekarang. Itu kalau Pak Andi bisa ceritain seperti apa Pak?
So, I believe Tuhan nggak pernah lupa.
Yeah.
I started with my experience in the middle school, high school, serving the Lord. Tuhan nggak pernah lupa.
Yeah.
Waktu saya mulai kuliah gitu ya, masuk Fakultas Hukum di tahun terakhir gitu ya. Tahun terakhir itu saya dikasih kesempatan untuk magang di LBH.
Okay.
Magangnya bukan di law firm, magangnya di LBH.
Okay.
Dan itu sangat berharga buat saya. Waktu itu teman-teman saya juga banyak yang magang. Mereka banyakan magang di law firm yang memang bagus-bagus gitu ya. Jadi commercial law firm. Saya masuknya ke LBH. Waktu saya di LBH, untuk masuknya saja saya berjuang. Karena saya orang Batak gitu ya, om tante saya, Amang Boru Namboru waktu itu, kenal dengan salah satu pengacara besar. Nitipin, ini ponakan aku nih, kuliah nih, ikut-ikut kau aja lah, bawa-bawa tas lah, apa gitu kan. Tapi dari om itu, basically, udah nanti. Nah, dia nggak terlalu tertarik lah untuk saya magang di dia atau ikut dia gitu. Tapi yang saya lakukan adalah saya datang ke sidang. di mana that person itu sidang perkara itu. Perkara menarik pada waktu itu. Nah, saya ikutin terus tanpa disuruh, tanpa diminta. Sampai akhirnya at one point, dia bilang bahwa, me and my colleague itu mau buka legal aid. Lo ngapain di sini? I just like it. I just like to see the courtroom, how the court proceeding is. Really? Okay, then you come next month, tanggal sekian, say that you are my guy. That's how it started. So even to start in the LBH, I have to really do something yang ikutin selama 1, 2 bulan, 3 bulan sidang itu. Nah, sampai di LBH, mungkin nggak semua orang punya pengalaman lawyer yang start di LBH. For me, that's a privilege. Karena di situ bertemu dengan orang-orang yang di grassroots. Benar-benar untuk jadi klien aja kita perlu surat keterangan miskin, kita perlu lihat bill listriknya, gitu ya. Kita perlu lihat memang kondisinya. Itu benar-benar kita bantu tanpa bayaran. Karena kita digaji sama our boss. Our boss waktu itu Pak Hotma Sitompul, almarhum. Kita digaji sama dia. Nah, kita ngebantu ini rakyat free of charge. Apa yang saya lihat adalah orang-orang yang dibantu itu benar-benar berterima kasih. They feel like we are utusan Tuhan yang dikirim untuk bantu mereka. Kasusnya apa aja sih? Kasusnya itu kasus tenaga kerja lah, kasus-kasus tenaga kerja yang di PHK, ada yang kena gusur lah, ada yang KDRT lah, ada segala macam lah. Gitu. Masalah tanah dicaplok, kayak gitu-gitu. Nah, itu sampai-sampai rasa bersyukurnya mereka tuh kirim makanan, gitu. Karena they don't have money to pay. Ada yang sampai namain anaknya nama-nama kita, lawyer-lawyer, gitu. That's how it goes. Nah, dari situ baru along the way, lama-lama baru setelah saya lulus, setelah saya mulai kerja, baru saya diterima oleh Pak Hotma di kantor komersialnya. So di kantor komersial, I can see different things. Gimana kita membantu businessman, kebanyakan businessman ya, untuk mecahin masalah-masalah mereka. I have to say I'm thankful for that. Until now, that's what I'm doing gitu ya. Commercial law firm. Nah, dimana kalau kita udah selesai, they're really grateful. Thank you. They paid as they promised. Tapi it's so different with the legal aid. With the legal aid, the gratitude is different. Because they don't think they deserve the help. Kalau di commercial, they're paying. They are expecting us to serve them, to deliver what we promised them. It's so different. The legal aid, they think we are the extension of God's hand to deliver mercy to them. Gitu. Kalau di sini, kita as a professional kita bantu. I'm grateful that I can experience those two different worlds, and that's I think in myself makes me like all the time between looking out for poor people and then still have to serve the professional, serve the community, the businessman. It has to be balanced.
Correct. Gitu. Terus Pak Andi buka law firm-nya kapan, Pak? Setelah itu?
Waktu buka law firm, itu saya buka waktu saya sudah 7 tahun di kantornya Pak Hotma Sitompul. At one point, tiap-tiap law firm punya karakteristik sendiri gitu ya. Pak Hotma juga punya karakteristik sendiri. Dia juga punya kandidat-kandidat keluarganya ataupun orang-orang yang memang dia pilih untuk itu. Saya juga memilih untuk ya udah saya bikin law firm sendiri gitu. 2009 kita buka law firm sendiri. Starting from zero juga. And then we met media mogul. After kita buka nggak berapa lama, one of the media mogul of Indonesia need our assistance, dan that's how it started. The exposure of the firm itu jadi lebih kebuka kemana-mana karena kita represent a media mogul, gitu. Dan kita isi dengan anak-anak muda gitu ya. Firm kita isi dengan anak-anak muda, memberikan gambaran yang yang berbeda buat dunia lawyer litigasi Indonesia pada waktu itu. Kita started anak-anak di bawah 30 tahun waktu itu. Nah, di mana kalau dulu tuh trennya adalah orang yang buka law firm itu yang udah lebih senior, trennya 40, 50 gitu ya, baru buka law firm. Kita benar-benar law firm yang waktu itu under 30. Under 30 years old yang kita buka, dan praise God, yaitu send clients from one success story to another success story, terus Tuhan jagain. Gitu.
But if we go back to when you were younger, 18 to 20 years old, would you expect that you would be here today?
I have a big dreams.
Yeah.
Sometimes the dreams and the reality back then is not klik. Waktu saya semester 1 gitu, tahun 99 gitu ya. Saya masuk tahun 99, semester 1, 2, 3. Itu we have a chat with friends gitu ya. With my girlfriend back there, now becoming my wife.
Oh wow.
And then kalau ngobrol tuh, mau jadi apa? I said to her like, oh, I want to beat this one specific top lawyers. Back then already top lawyers.
Yeah.
I want to beat him in professionally. I said, what? You are at the first year of law school. I said, oh, it's okay. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And I really shape my study towards that. Anak kos, waktu itu anak kos ya. Jadi dari Medan, my family is, my dad is a surgeon, tapi kan I go to Jakarta, di Depok gitu ya, ngekos, baru anak Batak gitu kalau rantau, kadang ngekos, berapa lama, habis itu kadang-kadang numpang di rumah tulang, tulang, Amang Boru, gitu. Pindah sana, pindah sini. I have big dreams back then, and at one point in my career, I really have a case yang benar-benar bareng sama dia, bareng ataupun counterpart with him, gitu. He's top lawyer until now. He is top lawyer, without mentioning names like gitu ya. So for young generation, bermimpi itu bagus. Karena itu yang mengarahkan kita untuk ngasih semangat dan ngarahin, jadi apa yang mesti dilakukan. Like I said, like dream is like vision. Tapi dream and vision alone without mission, nggak bisa jadi.
Benar.
Nah, dari situlah mulai menyusun mission. Jadi kalau begitu, program kekhususan atau specializing di kampusnya apa ya untuk mencapai itu. Nggak asal ngambil, mata kuliah apa. No, dari awal saya mau ngambil ini. Karena nanti ujungnya, I believe nanti I will need this pada waktu in the real world to solve this kind, to have understanding like this. And then waktu masuk ke LBH juga gitu ya. It's not a big office back then. Jadi dengan masuk ke kantor yang lebih kecil dan masuk ke commercial firm yang juga size dari orang-orangnya nggak banyak gitu ya. Walaupun it's a top law firm, top litigation law firm, tapi size-nya nggak banyak. I have understanding bahwa kalau saya di tempat yang orangnya nggak banyak, maka pasti saya akan dilibatkan di banyak hal. Dibanding saya kalau di tempat yang besar sekali orangnya, kemungkinan saya akan hanya mengerjakan a small chunk of it. Gitu. Jadi I chose, dari mulai awal tuh emang chose kantor yang kecil. So I can do everything, I can understand everything. Itu pro-nya. Cons-nya jadinya adalah, cons menurut orang-orang awam ya. Akhirnya mereka, karena kita paling junior, ya minta tolongnya ke kita banyak. Tolongin dong, ini tolongin.
Semuanya.
It was a very hectic time. Mungkin buat lawyer-lawyer yang muda-muda sekarang yang berkantor di kantor besar, ini normal. Tapi buat orang-orang awam, karir awam, mungkin nggak normal. Apa itu? Kerja masuk jam waktu itu saya masuk, saya sampai lupa di kantor itu jam 8 pagi apa jam 7 lewat gitu ya, udah harus masuk.
Yeah.
Terus karena banyak kerjaan, juga dari senior-senior minta tolong sana sini. Terus sampai malam 11, kadang-kadang bawa kerjaan sampai jam 12.
Wow.
Gitu ya. And it happens every day. Sometimes weekend juga begitu. Yang menarik lagi adalah without complaint tentunya. Nah, ini without complaint. Is there any work balance, apa namanya?
Work-life balance.
Work-life balance. I don't have it back then. I don't have work-life balance back then. Untungnya waktu itu memang belum kawin, anak juga belum ada. Waktu udah punya anak masih kecil, anak umur 2 tahun udah buka kantor sendiri. Jadi it all happens sebelum punya anak dan sebelum anak umur 3 tahun, jadi 2 tahun di bawah. I don't have work-life balance. My boss seneng kadang-kadang jalan ke mall gitu ya. Dia seneng kadang-kadang kerja di mall atau dia ngobrol gitu ya. Ini di tengah kesibukan yang begitu banyak berkas, I have to accompany him. Pasti dia akan tanya. He came to my room and said, "Dik, sibuk nggak?" I'm very busy actually. But what is come out from my mouth? Oh enggak Pak. Ayo mau apa? Ayo temenin saya yuk. Kita ngopi di sana.
Wow.
Oke. Spend 1, 2, 3 hours. Back then, saya ngerjain bawa berkasnya nggak? No, saya nggak bawa berkas. Tapi back then, saya baru nonton film tentang BlackBerry. BlackBerry itu tahun berapa ya? BlackBerry itu, saya lupa. Pokoknya the earliest day of BlackBerry, I spend my money to buy that. Itu zaman BlackBerry masih hitam putih, yang masih pakai scroll dari samping masih bunyi krek. Back then belum banyak orang Jakarta. Setiap kali saya pegang itu orang lihat apa sih itu? Nah, karena all the emails is there. Microsoft Word juga bisa di situ. That's how I manage it. Jadi kalau lagi ngobrol saya ngobrol. Kadang-kadang my boss ada temennya. Mereka ngobrol. Kalau mereka ngobrol, then I do my work there. A lot of people doesn't understand that. Dia pikir, enak diajak jalan-jalan sama bos. Oh ya, I'm doing my work there. And back then, I'm handling 2 office. Kenapa? Karena waktu udah mulai kerja di commercial firm, Pak Hotma juga minta saya untuk mensupervise the legal aid. Gitu. Nah, jadi akhirnya saya harus mensupervise legal aid sambil mengerjakan commercial firm. It's a lot of drafts, a lot of material to read. Every day is like that. Tapi every time, bahkan Saturday, Sunday, lagi mau pacaran, kalau masih belum kawin gitu ya. Free nggak? Nih mau makan siang nih sama teman-teman saya, ikut yuk. Oke Pak. So I have to cancel my lunch with my girlfriend. I never told my boss that, sorry Pak, udah janji. So work-life balance, I don't have it. Did I regret it? No. Why? That shaped me to become what I am today.
Correct.
And what I am today, because of all those things and God blessing, I can have more time. More time with my family, because I believe when my kids is already like 4 until at least until they're 18. Because before 4, maybe they don't really remember things. But after 4 until 18 is the golden moment that I have with them. Why 18? Because after 18, after 18 tahun, mereka udah kuliah. Kita nggak bisa, saya nggak bisa maksain, nggak mau maksain bahwa kamu kuliahnya harus dekat-dekat papa. Nggak mau. Saya selalu bebasin, mau kuliah di mana ya terserah. Karena it's their future. Sama seperti dulu waktu I was from Medan gitu ya. Tapi waktu saya memilih ke Jakarta, my parents nggak pernah larang. Mereka bisa aja larang. Nggak harus jagain papa mama. They don't do that. I don't want to do different with my kids. Kalau mereka mau milih kemana silakan. They have to pursue their future. Gitu. Jadi Dulu I don't have work-life balance, yes. Tapi after that, karena bisa bikin kantor, mulai bisa gedein kantor, bisa punya partner, bisa punya associate, dan banyak staff yang bantu. So I can manage my time. Dan interesting enough, di Indonesia paling tidak ya, saya nggak tahu di tempat lain. Kalau kita, waktu anak-anak saya udah mulai SD, udah mulai SMP gitu ya, kalau kita udah janji sama mereka, and my meeting, misal lagi meeting belum selesai, my client can understand, sorry ya, gua duluan jalan ya. Kenapa? Udah janji sama anak. But they understand that. Nggak ada yang gara-gara itu, you're not professional. Mungkin kebetulan saya ketemu klien yang begitu. Tapi they respect that. And I never regret if I excuse myself atau I cannot attend even to a meeting or whatever because of my kids.
That's amazing, Pak. I think I want to ask also about why law, Pak. Waktu itu ada pilihan yang lain yang Pak Andi lagi bilang, mau ini atau mau itu, atau memang dari dulu, I want to be in law.
Okay. So, my dad is a doctor. Biasanya anak dokter jadi dokter lagi. Tapi I read a book back then that was written by a lawyer juga gitu ya. Di buku itu How to Argue and Win gitu ya. It's really interesting. The role of a lawyer. It was when I was in high school. I see that kadang-kadang satu orang, semua orang menuduh bahwa lu salah, lu layak dihukum. Lawyer itu tugasnya membela dia dengan menghadirkan sudut pandang yang berbeda. Fact is the fact. Tapi bagaimana kita menyajikan fact itu bisa berbeda. Sehingga harapannya hakim bisa melihat bahwa, oh iya, nggak seperti yang kata orang-orang ini. Fact-nya juga kadang-kadang slightly ditwisted oleh orang-orang karena nggak tahu fakta. Udah gitu, cara meng-apply aturan atau hukumnya juga berbeda. Saya senang pada waktu menjadi orang yang bisa menyajikan bahwa you are not like what other people think you are. So, tapi kalau orangnya salah bagaimana? Kalau memang pada dasarnya dia melakukan hal itu, even kalau misalnya ada orang salah, tapi misalnya penyidik ataupun ya mau dari kepolisian kayak dari kejaksaan kayak, emang mereka nggak punya buktinya, emang mereka nggak sanggup buktikan, harusnya saya ngapain sebagai lawyer? Tetap belain dia. Karena tugas saya membela dia. Bukannya saya justru ikut, oh, lu salah memang, mengaku apa? Enggak. Kita cuma bilang, silahkan, Pak Polisi, Pak Jaksa, bukti yang kamu punya apa? Oh, itu nggak cukup kalau begitu. Mari kita pergi ke pengadilan. Itu pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang kadang-kadang anak-anak juga tanya. If you know someone is guilty, will you still defend him? I say, yeah. Because I believe there is other side of story to that guy. That's my job, to present that to the court.
Wow. So, how long was the whole study to become a lawyer, Pak?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years to become a lawyer, and then ada advocate courses, baru ada bar exam. After that udah jadi lawyer, diangkat.
Pernah ada waktu mungkin Pak Andi merasa overwhelmed banget that you felt, wah ini kayaknya terlalu berat for me, I don't want to pursue, atau memang mungkin karena Pak Andi udah cerita mindsetnya ya, jadi mungkin gak ada ya waktu kayak gitu, Pak?
Waktu sebelum jadi lawyer, nggak ada. Memang semangat pengen jadi lawyer. Gitu kan?
Benar.
Apalagi melihat LBH, semangat lah kalau melihat perkara-perkara semangat. Nah, setelah jadi lawyer, kadang-kadang di professional lawyer, commercial lawyers, ada waktunya jenuh nggak? Ya ada. Ada waktunya jenuh. Kadang-kadang we do the same thing, kadang-kadang again and again gitu ya. Boring. Well, lawyer itu harus passion. Kadang-kadang kita jenuh, ya kita harus cari lagi how to get that passion again. Nah, tapi am I only doing lawyering? No, saya juga tetap cari. opportunity to do business, because business for me is also interesting. I do some kind of business with my friends, nggak sendiri, sama teman-teman gitu, ngeliatin project ini itu, ikutan di project, chip in di project. It's interesting to have other things than only lawyer for me.
Correct.
Gitu. Jadi I'm doing this, but I have also side things, which is lawyering. But the bread and butter is still lawyering.
Pak, I want to talk about building the firm gitu. Pas Pak Andi mulai firmnya, at that time, what did you have, Pak? Apa Pak Andi udah ada, misalnya Pak ya, apa Pak Andi semua resourcesnya udah ada, atau memang mulainya seperti apa gitu Pak?
When I resigned from my previous firm, I don't have a plan to open a firm. I was planning to go to UK to get a master degree.
Okay.
But my client back then, when they hear that I'm resigning, I'm quitting, a lot of people starting to call me, to reach out to me.
Oh, okay.
Not to become my client. I was very young back then, 28. And they give support in the terms that, Pak Andi, kita dengar udah keluar. Oh iya, baru aja Pak. Oh, ngapain? Mau sekolah? Sekolah di mana? Di luar. Oh, ngapain? Buka aja Pak. They're the one that support me, say, buka aja Pak firmnya. This is your time. I believe bahwa he will do good. I said, really? That's what you think? Ya, beberapa orang kayak begitu. Ada family members juga yang bilang, ngapain sekolah? Buka aja. Akhirnya saya cuma S1 sampai sekarang. My team in the office itu banyak yang S2. Banyak S2. Kita sekolah yang S2, ada yang memang udah gabung waktu S2. Gitu ya. I'm still S1. Tapi lawyering, litigation. What you need is how to apply the law.
Correct.
How do you apply the law in a case. Makanya S1 is more than enough untuk lawyering, litigation ya. Kecuali mau jadi dosen. Okay. S3 atau apa, profesor. And pada waktu mereka bicara seperti itu, saya juga ya tanya ke nyonya saya gitu ya. Akhirnya ya udah buka. That's it. Saya buka, saya ajakin satu lawyer yang juga dari LBH yang juga udah keluar dulu. Udah kita buka. Partner buka. That's how it started. Udah ada ini belum? Udah ada anak buah apa belum? Belum ada. Ada resource belum? Nah, kita akhirnya nyewa kantor yang office space.
Ya,
you know office space in Jakarta kan ada kan ya.
Ada ya.
So those things kita started dari situ.
Terus abis itu Pak Andi dapat your first client dari mana? Tadi Pak Andi kan bilang ada Media Mogul yang dapat.
Itu setelah berapa bulan ada Media Mogul. Sebelum itu benar-benar ada my partner ada kasus kecil-kecilan.
Oke, dia.
Ya udah kita kerjain. Kecil-kecilan kita kerjain. Habis itu baru couple of months baru mulai big case coming in.
Okay.
Jadi it's not like karena ada klien besar, ada kasus besar makanya keluar. No. There was no intention to that. Kan ada mungkin orang cerita, orang kalau keluar pasti udah ada yang rencana besar, mungkin dia ngambil klien dari firm sebelumnya. In our story, that was not the story. Gitu. We start from zero client, zero team, only partners.
Tapi mindset Pak Andi gimana waktu itu gitu? Karena kan pasti mungkin you had big dreams, Pak. So obviously when you open the firm, you're also thinking this firm is going to be big one day.
Yes.
But sometimes obviously when you see the reality at that time, belum ada apa-apa, Pak. Jadi mindsetnya Pak Andi gimana waktu itu?
Someone says to me back then, hey, if you are opening your own firm, a lot of people might attack your firm. And I said, waktu itu saya belum kepikiran buka firm kan. I said, I don't have plan to open my own firm yet. I was planning to go to school, but I said, if God tell me to open the firm, and if He allows me to open the firm, I believe no one will be able to close it.
Wow.
And well, when we opened the firm, God really blessed it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What were the struggles in opening the firm? Do you remember anything?
When opening the firm, the struggles is when your team is not big, and then suddenly in Indonesia, when you have trust, when people trust you,
Oh yeah, yeah,
they will trust you more.
yeah.
They will give a lot of cases to you. Sometimes it's overloaded,
Yeah,
so the team is not ready.
yeah.
That's why you need to add more team. More team. You need to expand. And adding new team member is not easy karena perlu adaptation to the team. Kadang-kadang mesti ganti, nggak cocok, mesti ganti sama orang lain lagi.
Yeah.
So that's the struggle to make the team solid.
Yeah.
To make the team solid. Kita sebagai law firm ya, kita berusaha agar the one that wants to, misalnya kita punya 10 people misalnya, atau 20, 30 gitu ya, 30 people in the firm. Kita berharap not only 30 people ini yang memang kepengen ada di firm ini terus bareng, tapi 30 people plus the family. Karena kalau misalnya family members dari our team di rumah bilang, aduh papa ngapain sih kerja di situ? Aduh, wah itu juga nggak enak.
Nggak enak ya dia.
So we need to make sure bahwa their family are happy that their dad, their mom is at the firm. That's also the challenge. Karena zaman sekarang itu kita tahu banyak anak-anak muda yang suka pindah. Like hopping from one office to another office. It's like baru 1-2 tahun pindah, 2 tahun pindah. Gitu. We are grateful tim member kita itu di atas 5 tahun sih banyak banget. Di atas 10 tahun juga banyak. Belasan tahun juga banyak. Gitu ya. We are grateful for that. Gitu. Karena kita mau perlakukan mereka as family, not only as a colleague.
Correct. Gitu. But I want to talk about misalnya just a question I have is about cases, Pak.
Okay.
Sekarang kalau kayak tadi kan Pak Andi bilang, you have when you look at a case, there's a lot of different sides. But how do you as a lawyer separate emotion from logic, Pak? Because sometimes there is a case maybe you don't agree with or you agree with, tapi kan mindsetnya kalau lihat case kan beda gitu, Pak.
Of course that when you accept the case, you need to agree with what you are going to say in the court atau say in the process about it. Gitu. It's not about right or wrong, the person right or wrong, but it's about whether you will agree with the defense. You have to build the defense. Do you think you have a good defense? And theoretically, and do you agree with that? And then you make your client agree with that defense. Pernah punya kejadian nolak klien nggak? Ada. Ada. Ya karena sometimes we think that this is the best thing for you. Tapi dia bilang nggak mau, saya maunya ini. I cannot help you if that's what you want. This is what I can offer. Misalnya dari awal dia bilang saya maunya ini. I said no. What I can think of is to give you this. Tapi saya maunya ini. Maybe you should find another lawyer that can give you or promise you that. Gitu. So,
okay. But I want to talk about lessons. Throughout this whole journey of life, from when you said you had big dreams and when you were lagi ngekos, terus perjalanan semua Pak Andi sampai Pak Andi yang sekarang. Kalau Pak Andi bisa ceritakan lessons yang paling Pak Andi bisa, like these lessons really stick by me, apa Pak?
Okay. Apa sih yang dicari sama anak-anak muda gitu ya, apalagi zaman sekarang gitu ya,
Yeah.
duit,
Yeah.
semua orang mau jadi sultan,
Yeah.
crazy rich.
Yes.
I'm not sultan, I'm not crazy rich gitu ya. I'm good. Good itu apa? I can afford what I want. Ya, can I afford everything? No, I cannot afford a lot of things. Banyak. Tapi the thing that I want, I can afford.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm content. Tapi pelajarannya adalah, I also say this to my kids over and over.
Yeah.
I'm not the best lawyer in Indonesia. No, I'm not. But I'm one of the best lawyer in Indonesia. I always say to my kids, if you want to become anything,
Yeah.
pursue it and become one of the best in it. You don't have to be the best. If you can be the best, that's good. Pursue to be the best, but at least be one of the best. Because money, people will come to you for sure. If you become like top 10 in people's mind as an option, if you're a like businessman of selling a certain product, when people are looking for that product, you are one of the top 10 lists, one of the top 5 lists, one of the top 3 lists.
Yeah.
You will never run out of money because people will go to you.
Yeah.
Money will come to you. Jadi, do not go after the money. No. Focus on becoming the best.
Yeah.
At least you will become one of the best.
Yeah.
Money will come to you.
Wow. That's very powerful. Yeah. I think in closing, Pa, I want to ask you 2 questions. The first question is for anyone watching that are lawyers as well, entrepreneurs, and they're pursuing their dreams. And yeah, a lot of times people struggle, right, Pak? Mereka mungkin tabrak pintu, kayak ini mau kemana nih, pintunya nggak kebuka. What advice do you have for them, Pak?
My advice, ini advice yang udah sering orang dengar kali.
Yeah.
Bahkan ada lagunya.
Yeah.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Kalau di lagu gereja juga ada.
Yeah.
Jalan hidup orang benar,
Yeah.
diterangi oleh cahaya firman Tuhan. Yeah. Ada yang sampai pada bagian yang bilang, apabila ia jatuh, tidaklah dibiarkan sampai tergeletak. Dekat-dekat ke Tuhan. Kalau sampai ada masalah dan kita jatuh pun, dia akan tolong.
Amen.
Dan what doesn't kill you make you stronger.
Man, very true. The second one, Pak, is when you didn't have anything, Pak, and now you can afford what you want, what is the one thing that stayed consistent throughout those times till now?
Maybe because my kids just left to college.
Yeah.
So I talk about kids a lot.
Yeah.
But it's consistent during times I want to spend time with my kids as far as they're around, and I want to to support them in whatever form that I can.
Yeah.
But the things consistent from time to time before I become lawyer up until now, I need to say that you need to, in life, you need to have something to cling to, gantungan gitu, to hang on to, whatever it is. So when in time of need, you can hang on to it.
Yeah.
When in time of good, also don't forget, don't let it go. Also, whatever it is, and I choose to hang on God. Gitu, karena some people choose to hang on a big guy. But big guy sometimes changes from time to time, right?
Correct.
Power, it changes from a period of time to the next period of time. But God never changes. So,
Amen.
So hang on to something. Choose to whom do you want to hang on. If it is a people, if it is a person, choose who do you want to hang on. But for me, it's God.
Amen. But thank you for your time. Thank you for the amazing person you are. And I just want to thank you for all the stories. And I pray that, and I know it's going to be so impactful. Thank you once again, Bandi, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for tuning in to Defy the Odds. If this story moved you, share it with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't ever miss an episode.